Devon Dampier made several plays and stood out during day one of spring football, according to the coaches, as of course we don't get to actually see these practices. But what we did get to see and hear were from some of Utah's top skill position players, Wayshawn Parker, Tobias Merriweather as well. But I want to talk about Wayshawn Parker's quote earlier that caught a lot of eyes and said that he feels like he's capable of having a monster season. And he said his goal for this coming year too is to have the type of year that puts him over 1,500 yards. He thinks he has that ceiling. I've seen him comment on a few posts throughout the offseason of different running back rankings, whether that's nationally or Big 12 related, and he'll be shaded and he'll comment like ready to prove him wrong or things of that nature. And I believe he's capable of it. A true freshman last year, over 700 yards. And John Mateer was doing a lot of that too. So I think, and yes, Devon Dampier will still be doing a lot too. But we just saw last year, if you have the workload in the Utah Utes offense at running back, you're going to have a shot to go over 100 yards. We know that going back to the Zach Moss days, the Tavion Thomas, and most recently, right, Mekhi Bernard. So as we look to 2025, can Wayshawn Parker do it? Absolutely. 700 yards last year as a true freshman. He's gotten bigger, stronger, better. Same running back coach too, Mark Atuaya. So good chemistry and synergy there. And what is running back dependent on? Maybe more than any other position in football. Not just running back specifically, but I don't know if one position depends on another more than running back offensive line. Utah, as we talked about, pretty dang good offensive line. This is a group up front where you return all 5 starters. Left tackle, Caleb Lomu, going to be a first-round pick. Spencer Fano, arguably the best offensive lineman in college football this season, with Caleb Lomu arguably a top 5, and I do think everyone would agree a top 10 offensive lineman. Those are your tackles. How big is that for pass protection and Devon Dampier too, by the way? But for the run game, and they're incredibly athletic too, so you can do a lot of things with them. We already talked about the quote Lomu had about how Utah likes to get him out in space and let him do his thing, let Lomu cook basically, because he can't. It is painful defenders when you let Lomu out there because he is just going to be tossing dudes all over the place. So Lomu is the guy that I cannot wait to see, and Fano too, how Utah used their athleticism. Then you get Jaron Kump at center, Michael Mokafisi is your right guard, and then at left guard to Noah Tungai. All of those guys I thought had ups and downs last year, but Mokafisi's played a lot of football, most of it good at Utah. Tungai is another guy too I look at where, okay, ups and downs last year. And Jaron Kump probably more downs than ups for my estimation, but I do believe he's going to have the best year of his career. I believe all these guys will. I believe this has the potential, and I think it should be a top 10 offensive line in college football. Kyle Whittngham has gone out there and said that he believes it's going to be the best offensive line he's ever had at Utah, which is pretty high praise when you've had the Garrett Bowles offensive line. Utah's first offensive line that won that Pac-12 title in 2021 was absolutely tremendous too, right? So Utah's had some really good offensive lines over the past couple seasons, and I do think that this year's will be very good and maybe even their best, which is exciting. So yeah, I absolutely don't think what Wayshawn said was crazy, 1,500 yards. It'll be tough just because there are other mouths to feed. We mentioned Devon Dampier will be running the ball a lot at quarterback. He'll be Utah's second leading rusher. Naquair Rogers, I think, is RB2. I expect him to get over 300, somewhere between 300 and 500 yards on the season. And there's a lot of other guys in that backfield who could challenge for carries. A Devin Green, a Bray, a Daniel Bray, the freshman. He might be able to pop off and do some things this season too, right? So lots of guys in that room that can do something. There's good depth in the running back spot, but I feel like Wayshawn Parker can separate. Speaking of separating, Tobias Merriweather, as of day one, started to do that for the Utah Utes at wide receiver. Merriweather was a guy transferred in from first Notre Dame a few years, then went to Cal, and now he's up at Salt Lake City, and Devon Dampier was a big fan of him. He said Tobias is a guy who he came out here, and obviously he stood out today. So huge kudos to him, but he's going to be ready for UCLA for sure. So that's massive news for sure, because we talked about on this show, hey, this is a guy who's battled a lot of injuries. So is he healthy? What's his status? So the fact that he was practicing today and the fact that Devon Dampier even said too, like, hey, he's ready. He'll be good to go. I think is a massive relief and great news for the Utah Utes that Devon Dampier is ready to roll, or excuse me, that Tobias Merriweather is ready to roll. Because when we talk about Merriweather, 6'5", 195 pounds, massive catch radius, really good athletes. He was a 4-star recruit, I believe, coming out of high school, and a really good get for Notre Dame. This guy's made catches and plays against Ohio State too. So it's not like he hasn't played in some big games. He just hasn't been able to put it all together for a season. Some of that injuries, some of that inconsistencies as well, if you look over the course of his career. So could this be the place he puts it all together? I think there's a lot of reason to believe it is. He's going to be his 4th collegiate season now, right? And he is the guy in this Utah offense. I think Jason Beck, who I think if you're listening to the show, you'd agree he's a pretty dang good offensive coordinator based on his track record. He is going to put him in positions to succeed for the coming season too. And the fact that he is the type of guy that you can throw it up to him and you know he's going to bring it down. He's got good speed so he can run a bevy of routes for you too. And that catch radius is quarterback's best friend. So because even if it's not the most accurate ball, Merriweather's still going to be able to bring it in. So I thought that was really good today. I thought that was really good today that Merriweather was a guy who stood out right away because he's one of the guys I think with a great chance to break out for this Utah football team. And I am excited to see him on the field, just like a Wayshawn Parker. There's a lot of exciting weapons that this Utah offense has at their disposal. It was a really strong day, opening day of fall camp for Utah. And Kyle Whittngham was asked about that, once again, coming from our friend Joe Coles. Day one is different than it was 5 to 10 years ago. I think I said it this last year, but with the way the NCAA allows you to do certain things in the summer, now it's more a continuation of what we've been doing in a sense than finally getting a chance to go out and play football. So in that regard, you expected to be further ahead, and it's a good thing they changed those rules because with the influx of new players that everybody has, it helps those guys make the transition. So I thought today was a really good start. So that's obviously great that you get off and hit the ground running because we are, at the time I'm recording this, we're a month away from Utah taking on UCLA in Pasadena. Week 1 is right around the corner. So this Utah football team, they got to get going fast. Sounds like they're off to a really good start in their first practice here. And I'm looking forward to just seeing how this team can put all the pieces together because I do think the results are going to be absolutely massive for this Utah football team. And I am glad these changes are in place, right? What he mentioned, that the fact that there's new rules and changes that make it easier to build chemistry because you get so many transfer guys in. I don't know if Tobias Merriweather would be ready to go if there weren't some of those new rules and things put into place, right? Because he's a guy who's coming over. He wasn't even here for spring ball. When you add guys after the spring, a lot of times you want them to be able to contribute right away. And because of those new rules, Utah is able to do that. It also helps you with the guys that even the Devon Dampiers who came here in the winter portal, it just helps them get up to speed faster and quicker. The fact that they are already in-house, working with these guys together every day, every rep on the field, every opportunity just makes that much of a difference. And they've been working out up at Utah all summer, but the fact that those new rules are in place that allow them the opportunity to stay close, stay connected, and get those reps in are absolutely massive too. So really strong start for Utah football in spring football. You know, I'm going to be very interested just to continue to hear and see, hey, who are the other wide receivers that are separating? I really think it's going to be Merriweather will be the number one guy. If you're looking for the outside receiver opposite of him, Zipper, Larry Simmons, some combination. I think Ryan Davis will get most of the reps in the slot, although I feel like Creed Whitmore is going to make a few plays this year. Just remember him back to the spring game. He did some things. And then Otto Tia going to be the main tight end for this team. But really curious to see how the pass rushing the pass catcher, but also the pass rush department. That's something we've talked about a lot, right? That still needs to get sorted out. The defensive tackle depth, even though we think we know what it is, are there any other guys who are going to come in and surprise us? Does like an LSU transfer, Dylan Battle, who went through spring ball with the Tigers, and now he comes up to the University of Utah. Is he a guy who cracks that rotation? Feels like it'll be Vakalahi and Vaimahi as your starting 2 defensive tackles. Then after that, I think it's Laia is the next guy up, but then is it Battle? Is it true freshman Carson Kafusi? I don't know. That's what I'm curious to see. Just like the battle for that other outside starting corner spot opposite Elijah Davis, with, of course, Smith Snowden occupying the nickel corner zone. So a lot of spots and places up for grabs for Utah, and I'm excited to see who are going to claim those spots. Today's episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by Gametime. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spots for a show you've been really trying to get into and anticipating. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop the closer you get to showtime, and you can save up to 60% with their last-minute deals. Tired of the endless scrolling trying to find the best deal? Gametime Zone Deals pick the best seats in your section for you. They also have that Gametime price lock where there's no hidden fees in there. And also, how about the panoramic view from your seat? So you know exactly what kind of a view you're going to be getting. Truly, no surprises. And you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Now you can too. Download the Gametime app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege, all caps, no spaces. $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed with Gametime. Thank you again for making Locked On Utes your first listen and view of the day. We'll be back with you tomorrow, getting you ready for the 2025 Utah football season. Fall camp is here, and the season is right around the corner.